Hey, before we get into the AEW Dynamite review, let's first talk about the signing of Paul Big Show White to AEW and the extension of AEW's programming, which will include now a Monday show that they have called AEW Dark Elevation. So apparently, AEW Dark Elevation will air Mondays on 7 p.m. on AEW's YouTube channel. And it will showcase AEW's established and rising stars, as well as the top independent wrestlers within the industry, competing against each other in the ring in pursuit of wins. In pursuit of what else, for God's sake? Anyway, that was from the press release that was put out. Um, so, so let's move on to talking about the Big Show. So the Big Show will be on Elevation as he's signed into AEW as, quote, well, this is what Tony Khan had to say. He wanted to come to AEW because he believes that we're the best promotion in wrestling. And we believe that he has a lot to offer us, both in the ring as a wrestler, and also outside the ring as a commentator, host, and ambassador for AEW. So he also will be the commentator for the AEW Elevation show. Now, I don't know how he's going to be as a commentator. I have no idea. I don't see why AEW needs to have two pre-shows. They have only been in operation for a year. I don't know if they're signing guys to contracts or they're still doing the tiered system that Cody talked about, where they just paying people per appearance, essentially. But they did sign a bunch. Apparently, this is AEW admitting that they signed a bunch of guys that can't do anything. So what they're doing is they're trying to hide them on YouTube. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I mean, it's not a problem because WWE does the same thing. They put people on 205 Live until they're ready. They used to put people in NXT because they weren't ready to come up to Raw or SmackDown. So it's not like it's a big surprise. It's not like I'm casting aspersions on what AEW is doing. It's smart. They signing people and then they throwing them on the YouTube channel in order to get more reps and get more things to do. Okay, fine. But AEW is still very new. They kind of need to do something else, especially when you have all of these crossovers that they're talking about. So now you're going to be talking about bumping more of your guys that you've actually signed and probably putting them on Dark Elevation or whatever the hell you're calling it. So I don't care. It's another show I'm not going to watch. Ultimately, I don't see how it's going to be any different from Dark. The signing of the Big Show, I don't care. I don't like the Big Show. I never did. As a matter of fact, I should put in the description my video where I talked about how bad the Big Show sucks. And I'm not going to change my opinion. The Big Show sucks. But if he's happy, I'm happy. I mean, the guy has earned the right to do whatever he wants. I did believe that he was a WWE lifer, that he was going to, be there forever. But if he still wants to wrestle and they don't want him to wrestle, and they don't have anything else for him to do because they are limited as far as where they can go and what they can do, then this makes sense. He's Jericho's friend. He's Jericho's neighbor, as a matter of fact. So this makes perfect sense. Jericho together again. No skin off my ass without, I'm pretty sure WWE and the guys there are probably happy for him. Maybe Vince is like, well, as long as he's okay, it's based in Florida. Big Show lives in Florida. I mean, there's nothing gained or lost, if as far as I'm concerned. So I don't really care that Big Show is signed up. I mean, it is what it is. So let's get into talking about Dynamite. Hey, welcome to Three Cock Commentaries. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite from February the 24th, 2021. So the first match was Jon Moxley versus Ryan Namath, a pretty much WWF Superstars jobber match. They didn't give it a lot of time, so that was good. Straight up paradigm shift for the win. Right decision, give him a good decisive win. So then we get Jon Moxley's promo, and this promo was very good, even though I don't like the idea of a exploding blah 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 match. I liked how Jon Moxley set it up. So he says that when he lost the title, he knew that he would have to crawl through mud or barbed wire or whatever it takes to get it back. But he says that he asked us, what are images in your mind when you think of the barbed wire death match? And he says that what these images remind him of is, he said he's an addict. He's an addict for living close to the flame, bearing his soul every night and feeling like he can't get enough. He says the match would probably be is probably a trap by Kenny Omega, but the temptation is too strong, and that if something bad happens, if things were to go wrong, he will want us to know that he gave it everything he got. So I was like, okay, I like the passion. The content was okay. It was a little long, but he's finally starting to come around when it comes to these promos. He's starting to come around. Like, he's starting to kind of shake it off. Like, earlier, I remember talking a lot about, hey, everybody kept talking about how great a promo this guy was, and he wasn't cutting good promos, but now he seems to have found his groove. The old thing where him saying he's an addict and how much he loves pro wrestling. Of course, they got to pop out of the artsy fartsy pro wrestling crowd. And it's fine. It's fine. And then just because it's associated with this, and it was the only thing Kenny Omega did all night, we get Kenny Omega later is in a shop class, and he's just banging a thing with a hammer. And then he starts talking about, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And then Don Callis talked about they're building the Moxley extermination chamber. And I said, in those shoes, like the same pointy elf-like shoes that Kenny Omega was wearing the last week, he's still wearing them this week, and he's in shop class building something with these fucking shoes. So at some point, Kenny Omega is still talking, and some guy turns on a saw, and it's like, I didn't hear nothing Kenny Omega said after that. I didn't hear anything. All I saw is, his lips moving. I didn't dare turn my TV up to actually hear it. I was just kind of like, well, if they don't care, I don't care. Shit, like, it doesn't matter anyway, because they said it's supposed to be this match. They said the match is going to have landmines and barbed wire the ropes wrapped in barbed wire, which is how the Sabu Terry Funk barbed wire match was. Or was it that the ropes were replaced with barbed wire? I think the ropes were replaced with barbed wire. So there was no ropes. It was just barbed wire around the ring. I think that was the barbed wire massacre, though. That's what's different. But he talked about, it was okay. Like, Kenny Omega is not a tough guy. He's coming across like a loon. Obviously, it's a trap. It's going to be 3 guys beating up on Jon Moxley in an exploding blah, blah, blah match. And that's pretty much what it's going to be. And maybe somebody else will come out there to help Jon Moxley and do all the blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. And then he's going to go away for 6 months to have the baby, and then probably go away for even longer than that. It is what it is. But his promo is very good. His promo is quite good. I'm enjoying that he's found the right pocket. I'm about to call him John Morrison. Jon Moxley has found the right pocket for the character. The dancing on that line of that Clint Eastwood type of baby face, which fits him. It fits. So we get a short promo that apparently took place the previous week where Phoenix and Archer got into a fight because Phoenix was talking in Spanish about how Archer was the worst partner he ever had. And I was like, okay, whatever. So that was the main event of the show, was Phoenix versus Lance Archer in a match that was like 25 fucking minutes. It was basically like 25 fucking minutes. And the match was to get into the ladder match at Revolution. So the ladder match is 6 men, 1 match. Of course, the winner becomes the TNT champion. Because they set it up earlier, I'm just going to jump right to it. Lance Archer and Phoenix. So this match was entirely too long. I was legitimately bored. And I've never said that about a Phoenix match before. I've been uninterested in Phoenix matches because he just does everything he knows how to do in a match, and it seems like he's having the same match over and over again. But I was legitimately bored watching this match. Why was I bored? I was bored because Lance Archer was in control of most of the match. Not that there's anything wrong with that, except for Lance Archer didn't give me a reason to be excited about anything that was happening. I was not really excited about Phoenix's firing up. I was not excited about any of this stuff. And then you kept having Lance Archer, who has this love affair with the fucking camera, where he just talks to the camera constantly and mugs for the camera and talks and smiles and talks and talks and talks to the fucking camera. It's like, try to win this fucking match, will you please? Will you please? So there was, I did like, the basic storytelling, which was that Phoenix had no strike ability. He was laying in his strikes like he was making Lance Archer's skin red. But Lance Archer was basically laughing off all of his chops and stuff like that. But Phoenix, once again, was having a match where he was, just doing everything he knows how to do. And it seems like he just has a routine. He just kind of does stuff. And that's the worst thing to have as you're a luchador, is to have a routine. It just feels like, okay, you ran across the top rope to do the kick. I've seen you do that before. You've done the sweet dive between the ropes, and just before you make contact, you turn it into a senton. I've seen that before. It's like, yeah, this stuff is interesting, but and it's fun, but it's just not. And this match feels like it's been going on forever. Now, I will say this though, they actually did a good job with the rolling cutter this week. Because remember, I think I bitched about like, why was he doing a moonsault and then rolled back into the cutter, right? This week they actually explained why it happens. So Lance Archer is finally down, as this is one of those times where Phoenix is in control. He does a moonsault. Lance Archer rolls out of the way of the moonsault. Then Lance Archer backs away and stands up. So that means Phoenix lands on his feet, then rolls back into the cutter. So it was almost like, okay, you moved from the moonsault, so you can, instead of just doing the moonsault and eating it, he rolls backwards into the cutter. So it made sense this time. So, like, okay, at least it made sense this time. At least it made sense this time. But the finish just came way too late for me to care. This match was entirely too long. And Lance Archer being in the match is fine, I guess. I don't see why Phoenix wouldn't be in it. Why wouldn't Phoenix be in this match? It's a ladder match. I know that, maybe you don't want to put Phoenix in it because Penta's going to be in it. Okay. But Phoenix is the one main eventing your shows. So, I don't know. Like, what are we going to do with Phoenix? They apparently think that he has main event level talent. But it's once again just a matter of he gets a lot of shine, he gets a lot of time, he gets to come in, do his high flying stuff, he gets to fire up, come back, do bounce guys and stuff like that, and then he just loses. So it's kind of like that's his position. He comes in, does everything he knows how to do. He's a very dynamic performer, very fast, very fluid. And sometimes when he's not falling all over the place, he did botch in this match. Because he's supposed to do the little bounce thing in between the ropes and then come back with a spin kick, and he made no contact the first time. And then Lance Archer basically made him do it again from the other side, and then just so Lance Archer could block the kick. So it is what it is. Phoenix is great. He needs to be taught, though. Like, he's a wild stallion. And maybe he's a zebra. And maybe he's a guy that you shouldn't try to coach. And you just let him do his thing. And that's the case. Maybe he's a wild boar, maybe he's an untamed animal. He's supposed to be this way, but it's very hard, because, his matches shouldn't be 25 minutes anyway. If we're being honest, there's no reason for Lance Archer versus Phoenix to be 25 minutes or whatever the fuck it was, 22 minutes or something. It was entirely too long. The size differential. It's like, Big Show wrestling, some smaller guy for 20 minutes. It's like, what? Why? Why would it take him 20 minutes to beat you? Like, but if you watch the match, you see why it took so long. Because Lance Archer's offense is shit. He's too worried about getting his shit in. He wants to look like, he wants to do moonsaults and shit too. You could have cut out 6 or 7 minutes out of this match if you would have cut out Lance Archer talking to the fucking camera and a lot of the other dumb shit he was doing. All right, let's jump back to the beginning of the show, because the second match on the show was the Varsity Blondes versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. Brian Cage powerbombed Pillman onto the ring, not the ring apron, but the ring post. And it looked like Pillman might have caught those stairs a little bit. Probably not a lot probably not enough to really hurt him, but it did look ugly otherwise. Griff Garrison got a nice little hot tag in and came in to bump Cage around after the hot tag. I was like, I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if I would have booked Cage. Like, Ricky Starks is one thing because he's a smaller guy. I don't think I would have booked Cage to do bumps for these guys. I think you should want to keep Cage as strong as possible and have Cage just basically eat these guys alive when he gets his hands on them. And maybe they drop kick them, like the old Rock and Roll Express double drop kicks, something like that to keep them off balance, to keep them out of the match. But for the most part, we should have just had Cage killing these guys. Like they're jobbers already. Like, it's one thing to put them in there with the Acclaimed or something like that, a team that you're not turning into jobbers. But the Varsity Blondes are essentially jobbers. You could just have them beat them. Anyway, Cage wins the match with a screwdriver, which looked ugly. It looked ugly. It looked like it hurts. Hopefully, Pillman is not injured. I'm pretty sure he's all right. And if he did get dropped on his head, it'll be very, very, very quiet. Nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever know because nobody ever really told about injuries and shit like that in AEW. People just disappear, right? And then you find out online that they was injured. They don't have no problems telling people when people are injured in like NXT and stuff. Anyway, the lights turn out because the lights go out every week. Then there's a video of Darby being dragged in a body bag in a car driven by Sting. So Sting, of course, is wearing the scorpion gloves. He's going across the desert in a body bag. So apparently getting dragged in a body bag wasn't as bad as we thought it was, right? Like, we thought being dragged in a body bag might suck. Like, it might hurt. But then you see Darby, he's smiling. He's got the TNT title in the body bag. Like, he's just going for a ride. He's like the kid in the little red wagon, So Sting comes out with a body bag. And everyone thinks Darby Allin is in the body bag, but it's Hook. Hook is in the body bag. It's Taz's son. That legitimately popped me. I was like, whoa, okay. That was nice. I give you credit for that one. It's Taz's punk kid. Like, Sting caught him and beat the hell out of him and put him in a body bag. All right, cool. Since I don't know how old Hook is, if Hook is like 15 or something like that, then of course it's child abuse. But if he's like 20, he still should have been. He was a worthy adversary. All right, let's put it like that. Besides, if he's gonna be, getting involved physically, then it's fine. So then we get the spot everybody remembers. So will remember, and that's Darby Allin ziplining across the arena from the balcony. He zips across the arena with a skateboard, and he is hitting Ricky Starks and Brian Cage with the skateboard, keeping them off balance so that he, of course, can unhook himself from the contraption so that him and Sting could beat up Darby Allin. Beat up Darby Allin. Beat up Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. So, of course, Darby Allin has his blood feud with Ricky Starks. Makes sense. They beat him up. And Sting gets his revenge on Brian Cage by, beating him up. Stinger splash, Scorpion death drop. Taz's boys has been decimated. Hook has been stuffed in a body bag and dragged around by Sting. Brian Cage got caught with a Scorpion death drop. Then Ricky Starks just got beat with a goddamn skateboard. And you know what? I am torn on whether I enjoyed this or not. Well, not whether I enjoyed it or not, but whether I liked this or not. I don't like that the guys just stood in the ring and waited for him to zip line across the arena. I don't like that. That seems silly. Like, you're coming into a fight. Like, the thing when Sting used to do this is that he would always show up at an inopportune moment. Like, he would just appear, like, zoop, boom, drop down from the sky, unhook, baseball bat, boom, boom, boom. Usually, like, sometimes he would even appear behind the NWO, where he would just come down, like, zoop, and then he would just unhook, and the NWO would never even see him. Then there would be other times where there'd be other kinds of chaos going on, and then the NWO and don't see Sting come down, and he unhooks with the bat and everything. In this situation, that was kind of what they were going for. They were going for Team Taz is going to be completely distracted by Hook being in the body bag. That, oh my God, Hook. He got Hook. And then all of a sudden they don't see Darby Allin coming with the zip line, but they did see him. So, they had time to react. They were given some time to react, but I'm not gonna rip them apart for this. It was a nice try, right? It's an attempt to make Darby Allin cool. And so for some people, Darby Allin has just become so much cooler because now he's baby Sting. And they're getting dangerously close, if we're being honest, to just having Darby Allin be Sting. Like, if you remember TNA, right, where they did the thing where AJ Styles, and he was wearing the phenomenal AJ Styles robe, and he basically was just little Ric Flair. And they did the same thing with Petey Williams, where he was just basically little Scott Steiner. And it wasn't just, oh, I'm the tag team partner, or this guy's my mentor. It's they're turning me into him. That's what they're doing with Darby Allin right now. They're trying to turn Darby Allin into the modern day Sting. That's going to fail, right? Darby Allin has something unique about him. He has a unique presentation, a unique charisma. He is not Sting. Stop trying to make him Sting. The reason why Sting worked is because two things. One, we knew Sting. We saw Sting when he was Surfer Sting. We were already invested in Sting. He was already a main event guy. We had already, wooed with Sting. We saw Sting beat his chest and slam Vader and do all this type of stuff. And then when he started going dark, we reinvested because Sting was a guy that we knew that was going through something. We saw the evolution of Sting. Most people barely know who fucking Darby Allin is. If they just see him palling around with Sting, he's ziplining like Sting. Sting got a baseball bat, he's got a skateboard, right? He's so much smaller than Sting. He's only painting half of his face. It's going to come across like a knockoff. He should not come across as a knockoff. He should come across as a genuine article. He is something different. They should have leaned more into the whole why he paints half of his face, the Daredevil stuff. And they really need to stop with the fucking skateboard, for fuck's sake. That needs to go away. If he's going to use a weapon of any kind, he should just use a real fucking weapon. Something that's, I don't know what it would be. That's not my job. But I think like him just having a skateboard is like weird. It's like really weird. And I think it's too much of an attempt to appeal to the MTV audience. Like, well, they were skaters in 2001. Skating is in the X Games, isn't it? Or some shit. It's like, come on, man. We don't really need that. We don't really need that. But as I was saying, to double back on what I was saying, we don't need Darby Allin being turned into Lil Sting. I would never forget. Like, that's really when I kind of was falling off with TNA, is when they just had AJ Styles, who is basically their version of Superman or Spider-Man. And they basically just like, oh, yep, you're our Ric Flair. So we're going to take this country bumpkin, good old Georgia boy, slap a goddamn Ric Flair robe on him, and he's going to be our Ric Flair. I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. That'll never work. That ain't never going to work. All right, so I give them a B- on the Sting Darby stuff. I'll give them a B- on that. Not gonna shit on it. Definitely don't know if Cage should have been getting dumped on his head like that. It really just occurred to me that maybe you should have been trying to protect Cage. You had Cage powerbomb Sting. You should have just kept him strong. But I really popped for the Hook being in the bag. I like that. That was cool. So then we get Miro, Kip, and Penelope doing a promo. Kip complained that his wedding was destroyed. Who cares? Miro said, oh, these kids couldn't go on a honeymoon because of Charles and Orange Cassidy. Who cares? He called Orange Cassidy walking Xanax, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Matter of fact, I thought it was so funny. I couldn't believe he actually said it. I rewinded it and listened to it again. He called this man walking Xanax. Holy shit. This shit is great. That was a great fucking line. He called a guy walking Xanax. That's pretty fucking cool. But he says he's going to cave Charles's head in and says that, but he likes Charles because Charles is very organized and he does a good job buffing his kettlebells and all that shit. And told him that he come home because he forgives him. And that, he should be a man. He should be his own man and come back and return to under his wing. Do not follow around Orange Cassidy. Be your own man. Do what's right. And then I believe it was Marvez or was it Tony Schiavone, whichever one of them, got a note. Will you wrestle us at Revolution Y or N? And then it says XOXO, hugs and kisses. And Miro snatches the thing and says, this is childish. You need to be a man, Charles, and come home. I wanted to Earl at this. This makes me want to Earl. All right. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Like, look, WWE handed you this guy on a silver fucking plate. They handed you this guy on a silver fucking plate. And this is what you do with him. You stuck him in an angle with Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Kip fucking Sabian. Come on, bro. I could have done better than that. I wish I'd have had $1 billion to run my own wrestling promotion. 90% of these motherfuckers wouldn't even be on the roster. I certainly wouldn't have spent money on Big Show. I can tell you that much. Right now. Big Show would have to pay me to get on my TV. But hey, whatever. Anyway, this promo was the shits. Now the walking Xanax line popped me. I enjoyed that. I enjoy stuff like that. It's colorful, very colorful. But I'm tired of this wedding angle. It feels like it's been going on forever. Right? It feels like it's been going on forever. I don't care. Right? Hatchet Head, Chuck Taylor in a tag team match with Orange Cassidy against Miro and Kip Sabian does not sound like anything I want to pay for. That sounds like you should do it on TV. Right? Like, I can respect Tony Khan's hustle, but you asking people to pay for that is some bullshit. Right? It's some bullshit. That's bullshit. But like, it would be sweet, like, in order to increase the women's division, they can make it a 6-person tag and have like the best friends pick up a woman, and then Penelope can wrestle too. Not just be outside the ring. I think that would have been an interesting little wrinkle. You could have did that on TV or something like that. That would actually mean, trying to get one of these women over. But they don't want to do that either. NXT has a problem where all they want to do is put the women over. And AEW's problem is they try to hide all the women. Like, even the hot ones. They don't even want to showcase them. But the whole note, the yes or no note, man, that makes me sick. These are grown men. I don't know why their gimmick is that they're immature. Like, what is, am I going to have to go on do a lecture series about this shit is not cool? What happened to the 18 to 34-year-old male, 18 to 49-year-old male, where he stopped wanting to be cool, right? Like, he's just started wanting to be infantile all the fucking time. Like, John Moxley is legitimately cool, right? Like, I see all these artsy-fartsy weirdos. I see these guys have fallen in love with John Moxley. Like, I don't know how many times I've seen that Ryan Loco picture of John Moxley with like a cigarette in his mouth being posted on Twitter, right? Because he's legitimately looks like an adult man. He's drinking whiskey and smoking cigarettes. He looks like something they would have seen. He's toxic masculinity, right? You look at John Moxley, this is what these weirdos would say. John Moxley is toxically masculine. He's killing his body with alcohol and cigarettes, right? After a blood sport fight where he used his head as a weapon. But they love him. Toxic masculinity, they love him. Women are attracted to it. Men are attracted to it. On the same show, you have other sets of grown men hugging and sending love letters to other men. What the fuck? All right? What the fuck? Why is like, I don't know. I'm not even about to go into that. Okay? Not going to go into it. But I will say, this is really weird. It's really fucking weird. And it needs to stop. Right? It needs to stop. They need to pick a lane. Like, I remember when everybody wanted to be cool. Like, just about everybody should be doing what Jon Moxley is doing. I don't mean, like, mimicking him. You can't do what he do. What I'm saying is you should be trying to be cool. You know? Like, people think Orange Cassidy is cool, right? For a long time, people thought Orange Cassidy was cool. I don't know anybody who's really in love with Orange Cassidy anymore. Most people just kind of just like, man, I can't believe Orange Cassidy fell off. You know, like, and that's the truth. You know, maybe he still sells a lot of T-shirts, maybe. And to be quite honest, I like the picture, the Ryan Loco picture with, but it's black and white, and it's hard to fuck things up that are in black and white, right? Like, it's kind of hard to fuck that up. It's a good shot, great shot, the pictures of Jon Moxley, but they're in black and white. It's kind of, I mean, it's a stylistic choice, I guess, but it's kind of hard to fuck up things that are in black and white because it feels very visceral when you put things in black and white. Just a note. Anyway, let's get back to this show, man, because I don't want to be at this forever. The next match was Brandon Cutler versus Jake Hager. I proudly will say I did not watch much of this match. All I heard is he's from Rancho Cucamonga, California, and I was like, who the fuck is this? And I see his Brandon Cutler. I was like, oh shit, I literally got something else to do. I left a roast in the oven or something. I don't remember. I think I might have been playing WWE Champions 2021, the little gym game. I think I might have started playing that right during this match. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, but Brandon Cutler fucking sucks, and I don't want to see Jake Hager at all. As far as I know, what happens is Brandon Cutler got pinned by a lariat, which was cool. Then I started paying attention again when the Inner Circle came out to beat up Cutler. So then we got to go back. So the Young Bucks come into the arena earlier. They're coming into the arena with their parents, and they see their faces on the side of a production truck. So then, very arrogantly, the Young Bucks want to take pictures with their parents in the production truck. So it's like they're taking a selfie with themselves and their parents on the production truck. And it's like, oh, it's so sweet, yada, yada, yada. Like, this has been going on for a year. This is the first time your parents have been to the show and, you know, seen the production truck with your faces on it. Like, your EVPs should have been there. Anyway, that plays into this match. Because once the Young Bucks come out to save Brandon Cutler, who is their childhood bud, they challenged Jericho and MJF to a fight. They said, we'll fight you right now, which is classic pro wrestling because the heels never take you up on it. So MJF and Chris Jericho show up on the screen. They say, oh, no, why would we fight you right now when we got you at Revolution? Why would we fight you right now? That's stupid. But he says, we got something that belongs to you, and it's the Young Bucks' dad. They have beat up his dad and bloodied his face. Bloody, quote unquote. It looked like red paint at first. And then it just like regular old fake blood when they really picked him up. The Young Bucks ran off to see what took place. And then Jericho and MJF ran his head into the production truck once. Ran his head into the production truck twice. And then he took off. You know, when the Young Bucks came out, Chris Jericho and MJF were leaning out the side of a truck laughing and taunting them while driving off. And I was like, okay. All right. I could have sworn they just did this with Hook. Where somebody got attacked backstage. They literally just did this with Hook. But, and plus this was very predictable. Very, very predictable. When Jericho got into it with the dad, we knew this was going to happen. What they probably should have done, and I'm going to give them some free advice, is they should have done this at the pay-per-view. They should have had Jericho maybe hit the dad with a bat or something. And that is the distraction so that Jericho and MJF can win the titles. that, they had to attack his dad, you know, to distract him. And then, he walks into a Judas effect or something like that, and then he gets pinned. But they could have did like Shawn Michaels and Jose Lothario. Like, that would have been a great finish to the tag team match, because the Young Bucks are they're younger than Jericho, so I'm pretty sure Jericho and MJF are going to win the tag team titles, even though probably not after this angle. But it probably would have had a little bit more drama if they would have said, the tag team titles come and go. You attacked our dad, and we may have lost the titles, but we'll be back because you screwed us, our dad. But now having to attack the dad before the pay-per-view, I definitely think that the Young Bucks are probably going to win now, which is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. But I don't know. I think the dad thing was a little too much. It was, and then of course it was completely unrealistic because the blood didn't like it came out of any sort of cut. It was just like it splattered on his face, like somebody meticulously painted it on his face. It was dumb. So then we got a vignette for the Jade and Shaq, Cody and Red Velvet thing. And now through this whole ordeal, I finally found out what this feud is about. This feud is because Cody said, I'm a giant killer. Because he beat Jake Hager and Wardlow and I think Lance Archer. So he says, I'm a giant killer. So Jade says, I know a giant. Shaq. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh boy. That's the only thing I took from that promo. Is I finally was like, that's what they're fighting over? They're fighting because Cody called himself a giant killer and Shaq is a giant. And I'll think to myself, why would Shaq care? I really want to ask myself that question. Why would Shaq care? Shaq, why do you care? But of course, now that Big Show is signed up, you do have to ask the question, is Big Show going to get involved in this? And I think that you kind of have to, you got to do it. WWE couldn't get it done. It's going to be like Hogan and Flair. Like WWE didn't want to do it, for whatever reason. Maybe the timeline wasn't going to add up. Maybe Shaq didn't want to take bumps or something like that. And so you got to at least tease it. You got to tease Shaq and Big Show staring at each other and, seeing what you can get out of that. I think you have to go for it. You have to try it at least. But this is dumb. It's dumb. I can't wait for this thing. This thing is going to be this is going to be the death match. Because this might be the death of fucking AEW. If the Shaq thing doesn't work, I feel bad for them. And I'm talking consistently. I'm not talking about they pop a rating one time. I mean, if this shit doesn't lead to consistently higher ratings, I don't know what else they can do. Outside of just bringing in more people WWE had brought in. They tried Mike Tyson already. They tried other celebrities already. I don't know what they could possibly do. They probably have to go out there fishing for celebrities to bring in. But TNT probably wanted that cross promotion with Snoop Dogg. It didn't really work. The Shaq thing is, they can. We'll see. But I don't think Shaq is really relevant to this audience. Now I think you might have to get some younger basketball players or something. You might. Well, I don't mean like LeBron James. I mean like somebody younger. Somebody whoever is hot right now. They need to get the equivalent of what. If there's an Allen Iverson type of guy out there, they need to bring like him in. I don't know anything about basketball. I don't think there's any players as popular as Allen Iverson was outside of LeBron. But if you got like a rebel basketball player who like always getting into trouble and a Ron Artest type of guy or somebody like that who can get rowdy and something like that, that might be what you want to do. If it's a football player, basketball player, or somebody like that, they might want to get that guy and bring him in because at least he's relevant to the young audience that they're hanging around. But a lot of the guys that they might want to bring in for celebrities, they already like doing WWE stuff like Tyson Fury and Well, let's think maybe they can get Conor McGregor. Maybe they can just dump a boatload of money at Conor McGregor to make a couple of appearances, to do some shoving matches with Cody or whatever, and maybe that'll work. You know, I think something like that might work. You know, yeah. A lot of people talking about Conor McGregor being done with UFC already anyway, but I don't think so. I think he wants to, avenge that loss. But if I'm Tony Khan, I have endless amounts of money. I probably would tell Conor McGregor, hey, why don't you come sit in the crowd and, for an AEW Dynamite, we can have people cut promos on you and you can cut promos back and and stuff like that. Just make it fun. Jericho can banter with him and MJF can banter with him. And if they say something too crazy, you can go in there and do a shoving match. And it could just be something to generate some interest in this program. But I don't think Shaq is going to be it. I don't think Shaq is going to do it. But they they don't have much of a choice. If it doesn't work, they're really going to have to dig into the well and start spending some money. Because their overall ratings are too close to NXT, and NXT barely tries, and that's just being real. NXT barely tries, and I don't give a shit about ratings anyway. I'm just saying it for the people who do care. Maybe in the demographics, because the demographics are interested in people who turn the fucking lights on instead of the NXT, which is dark as hell. But I need to move on. So the next match was Isaiah Cassidy versus Hangman Paige. This match was pretty okay. It was okay. It wasn't nothing too offensive that I saw. Maybe I missed something. But anyway, Alex Reynolds and John Silver schnitz. What the fuck is a schnitz? They snitched on Matt Hardy's cheating and got Matt Hardy ejected, but the Hybrid 2 were still outside the ring, and Orange Cassidy, Isaiah Cassidy's corner. Paige was supposed to be cutter like an RKO on the top rope, but he jumped, and Orange Cassidy, Isaiah Cassidy, that's why you shouldn't have two Cassidys, right? Isaiah Cassidy missed him, and he just basically gave himself a hot shot on the ring on the top rope. Paige won with his secondary move, the Dead Eye, which is basically a tombstone pile driver. So it was like, okay. So Matt Hardy off screen is like, you betrayed me, Adam. You chose the Dark Order over me, Adam. How could you do that, Adam? Now I'm going to destroy the Dark Order. And you right along with them. He's a supervillain. Then he appears with a member of the Dark Order, which he drags out and throws off the stage through a table, because why not? This is the third unseen attack on AEW Dynamite in one night. Surprise attack. A surprise attack. This guy, I think it's Alan Angels. Is that his name? Yeah, Alan Angels. Who cares? Like, really, who cares? Like, like I popped when it was Hook, because I was like, oh, I didn't expect them to do anything with him. And then I kind of forgot he even existed. So I was like, oh, that's Taz's son. That's interesting. The Young Bucks' dad, it was predictable because I saw it the previous week. This was a mixture of the two. It was predictable that Matt Hardy was eventually going to want to fight the Dark Order, because he talked about the Dark Order before. But it was a surprise that he wanted to throw this guy off the stage, But I just felt like it's too much of the same shit. It's not creative enough. It's not diverse enough, not different. It needs to be more different than it is. It seems like all three of those angles are essentially the same. Even though, most of them are playing on angles that happened before, it still feels like it's the same thing. It still feels, and I'm not saying it's a kidnapping. I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to count it on the kidnapping. Hook was kidnapped, I guess you could say. Hook was kidnapped. That's fair. But Young Buck's dad just got beat up. and Alan Angels just got beat up. You know, when you get transported and you can't move, you can't go anywhere, that's when you've been kidnapped. When like, am I free to leave? No, then you've been kidnapped. But usually, you know, when you get beat up, you're not free to leave. So it's like, it's a good question. But Hook was encased in another object. Let's put it like that. He was prevented from moving through being encased in something. Therefore, he was kidnapped. But this Alan Angels thing, I was like, kind of like, and plus I'm not emotionally invested in the Dark Order. I don't care about them. I hate them. I fucking hate the Dark Order. Like I legitimately do. They fucking suck. Why can't they go away? Oh, because, yeah, never mind. So the last match I can talk about right now, Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. I'm glad this was last because I didn't watch it. So I did watch it. I did see, however, that Nyla Rose nearly botched a power slam, not a power slam, a power bomb, and Britt Baker nearly died. Nearly died. She was able to save herself by, you know, I think she probably did a sit-up and basically took the power bomb flat on her back. And every time Britt Baker gets in the ring with Nyla Rose, it's almost a disaster. Every single time. Very weird that they put Nyla Rose over. Nyla Rose will go on into the tournament. Britt Baker probably should have been one of the people considered as a winner of this tournament. So that's weird. But it's no surprise. They're hiding the tournament on TV. Like, the only reason this match was on TV because Britt Baker was in it. There's only like 3 women they wanted, well, 3 or 4 women they want on TV. Serena, Riho, Britt Baker, and Thunder Rosa. Everybody else don't need to be on TV. So Nyla Rose wins and summarily gets shoved right back onto YouTube. You know, so it is what it is. But I don't even know what's going on in this tournament because I think they showed some clips. I think they did. But then you got half the tournament is not contracted, so they don't matter. Then you got most of the other people who are contracted, but they haven't been on TV, so they don't matter. You know, it's hard to follow and it's hard to care, right? So ultimately, I would have to be watching this match as somebody who wants to see this match, and I don't want to see it. You know, and I just have my protesting reasons why I don't watch Nyla Rose matches. So it is what it is. But I did see the finish, and I did see when I saw something as I was fast forwarding through it, I did see Britt Baker throw a tantrum when she was just very politely pushing around some garbage cans. Like, people need to learn that when you throw in a tantrum, you need to like make noise and kick things. Like, watch Brock throw a tantrum. Like, when Brock is mad, he starts throwing shit. You know, like he busts the tables apart, or not the tables, but the stairs, and he'll just launch a pack of stairs into the ring or something like that. Or he'll scream like, ah! Or something like that. Like, Britt Baker just very, very angrily moves some doilies around on the dining room table. You know, she used a solid fork instead of a steak fork because she's a rebel. You know, whatever. But the tournament is going to be over, I guess. And then, I guess the final's going to be on TV. No, the final's going to be on, wait, are they going to be on TV? Look, they got all this stuff spread out all these platforms. So let's talk about that while I still got some time. So apparently this women's tournament will be on YouTube, Bleacher Report Live, and Dynamite. And Tony Khan has claimed that, it being on Bleacher Report is really good because Bleacher Report has such a large audience. That's not bullshit. That is true. I went through this when I talked about the social media stuff, right? I talked about how Bleacher Report partnered up with AEW, and therefore that there's going to be a piece of that that's going to be when Bleacher Report was number 1 in some of those social media rankings. I basically said like that's why AEW partnered with them, because they have such reach. So that's not bullshit. It's very true. But the thing is, why are you just doing anything except putting them on TV? If your argument is, well, we want to see if we can get an audience over there, why don't you put another match over there? Why don't you put one of those tournament qualifying matches over there? You know, you could have put that fucking Lance Archer and Phoenix match over there, if you want to be honest. Why it's got to be like, what was it, Riho and Thunder Rosa? They're gonna be wrestling on Bleacher Report Live. Why? You know, why are you doing that? You don't need to. You know, you're doing it because you're trying to escape these people sinking your ratings. And we'll keep saying it until somebody admit it. You know, and I've seen a lot of the AEW marks. So I'm pretty sure they didn't get this far into the video, so I can talk about them. They're like, well, all these people who was telling them about the women's tournament, and then they're not watching it on YouTube. You know, you're not real fans. And I said to myself, like, yo, people who said they were real wrestling fans forever. I remember when 205 Live was really good. I used to go on Twitter all the time and tell people 205 Live is really good. Y'all should watch it. Nobody wanted to watch it. This is before AEW, right? I used to tell people all the time, man, if you really want to see some good wrestling, y'all complain about wrestling sucks. And, you know, I want to talk about Ring of Honor. Nobody want to talk about Ring of Honor. Nobody want to talk about 205 Live. They don't care how good it is. Ain't no stars. It's boring. You know, NXT has great wrestling every week. People just say it's boring because there's not enough stupid shit happening, right? People want stupid shit, you know? It's just what the audience is accustomed to. You know, a lot of crazy angles and over-the-top characters and stuff like that. They don't want a realistic sports-based product. They don't want that, you know? And people are really full of shit by saying that, you know, pretending that that's what they want. Conversely, maybe people are full of shit about really wanting women's wrestling on AEW Dynamite. Personally, I don't care about women's wrestling at all. You know, like I said, if you put it on the screen, I will watch it. I will give it a chance. And I will decide whether I want to see it or not. And then I'm going to evaluate it the same way I evaluate everything. You know? And that's it. So the only reason I watch women's wrestling is if I come across it, like, and I just have a hankering to see it. But I'm not a women's wrestling advocate. You know, I'm not one of those, oh, the women are the best part of the show. Rarely. Sometimes they are, but rarely. You know, they didn't have a women's elimination chamber match because they didn't want the men to get showed up. Man, shut your ass up. Go change your panties. You're talking stupid. But the tournament being stretched across 3 different platforms shows that maybe Tony Khan is trying to do different things. But he should just put Dark on Bleacher Report, if that's the case. You know, maybe Bleacher Report don't want it. You know, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they don't want it. Or maybe that's the point here, is that it's a tester. If they can get pretty decent ratings on Bleacher Report, maybe AEW will move their Dark show and their Elevation and all that type of stuff to Bleacher Report. Maybe. You know, I think that would be sweet. Be a nice little interesting thing to do. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys for your time. If you want to send me money, please do. In the comment section below will be the Cash App where you can send money directly to me. Thank you. If you want to spread the good word of 3Count Commentaries, please do, using the hashtag 3Count Commentaries. Get me more attention. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.